Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Scannell and this is my Teach 1 assignment for HAP 464. Today I'm going to teach you guys the SQL code for prediction and validation set. So a reminder of what we've learned and completed in our previous classes. You'll need to have a good understanding of these to be able to complete this assignment. So clean your data, define and binarize your data, divide your data into testing and training sets, and estimate and optimize your likelihood ratios in your training table. So what would be the next step to do? The next step is to validate our prediction from the training data set and find the likelihood ratio in the testing data set. Just a refresher on what variables are used to calculate the likelihood ratio, we're using the same table that we did last class. The likelihood ratio is equal to the quotient of A divided by A plus B, all over the quotient of B divided by B plus D. To prevent any zeros or undefined ratios, if A is equal to 0, we will change the value of A to the quotient of 1 divided by n plus 1. N is equal to the total number of distinct records in your table. If B is equal to 0, we will change the value of B to the sum of n plus 1. Okay, this first step is very important. Currently, our data set is large, but not large when compared to real data that has millions and millions of records. So when you're trying to find the likelihood ratio, it's important to optimize your data. This means to find values and use values that represent large sets in your data. With ICD-9 codes, the letters and numbers before the decimal represent a specific disease, disorder, or symptom. The numbers after the decimal represent a disposition of such. So the code that you are looking at has broken down the ICD codes to express their parent-child relationship. This is all to hopefully gain larger sets represented by each ICD code rather than having just a bunch of little numbers. I remove the decimal places because they just come irrelevant and useless after you do the first code. So the second step is to calculate A and B. A is the number of all records who have lung cancer grouped by the ICD code. B is the opposite. It's the number of all records who do not have lung cancer grouped by the ICD code. So in order to make the final calculation much easier and also correlate the data between A and B and assign zeros where needed, we'll need to join the two tables together. So your result should look something like what I have here at the bottom. And in order for us to be able to use A and B values, we must first eliminate any null values. Please remember that null values are not the same as 0. After removing all the null values and replacing them with zeros or the ICD code, we correlated the two, and we need to make sure that every A has an ICD code, every B has an ICD code, and they both have zeros. So your table should look something like this, what I have here at the bottom. And you may have noticed that now we have two columns with the exact same data. So we will remove that duplicate column next. So to remove the duplicate column, you just use alter table, drop column. And now the next part is not necessary, but I did it to help clarify for you guys and make sure you can understand what the data I'm referencing is. So I needed to change the names of the columns. To do so, I first made the temporary table into a real one. After that, I used the code SP rename. The formats, you can understand this, is table name dot current column name in single quotes, comma the new column name in single quotes, comma the object type in single quotes, and in this case, it's column. So after that, you'll see that the table down at the bottom, that's what it should look like. It has clearly identifiable ICD codes, A and B values. So now comes the fun part, calculating the likelihood ratio of every ICD code in our testing table at once. So I verified that we didn't lose any ICD codes along the way, and after everyone was accounted for, we can begin the calculation. So I declared the variables A plus C, B plus D, and N. Remember, we can't have any zeros in our numerator or denominator, so use an if statement to change those should they be 0. Plug in your values for A and B in the likelihood ratio equation. Set it to order by the likelihood ratio descending, and then your ICD code with the highest likelihood ratio will pop up at the top of your results. So congratulations. If you follow these steps, you've now successfully completed this assignment, and you should have a calculation for all the likelihood ratios for every ICD code in your testing table. Thank you.